Now it's time to dive into making the actual textures for the height field. So let's drop the cop to network node, and let's dive inside so we can work on the actual textures. If you already don't have on your Houdini desktop, you need a composite view. You can just add it here because we'll need to be in that view in order to see everything that we are working on. Let me create some space over here so we can be more flexible with our workspace. So the first thing that we need to do is to import the actual data that we created on a SOP level. So for that, we use a SOP import node. And I'm just going to point it to our out Dusty null that we created, which is our final output for the Dusty height field. A couple of things that we need to do on this node is to set the resolution from the SOP. We should set it at 4K resolution, as you can see in the top left corner. And we also need to set planes from the SOP. And this will give us all the planes and masks that we have made on the SOP level. Okay, and also what I want to do, I want to enable remapping the range from 0 to 1, so it's a bit easier to work with the data. That's all we need to do for this import. Now we can start working on the actual textures. First, let's just work a little bit on the displacement one. We won't do any changes, but just wanna prep it for shading. So first of all, I'm gonna drop a delete node. I'm gonna put it here on the left side. I'm gonna connect that, and I'm going to write in height as a plane scope, but I'm going to delete everything except height. And right now what you will see is that here we only have one pane left, and that's the one that we need, that we are isolating as our height displacement. In order for that to kind of work out of the box with some render engines like Octane or Redshift, that pane actually needs to be renamed. It won't automatically read the height as a name, but we need to rename it to C, which is color. So I'm just going to rename, drop a rename node, and then rename this pane from height to capital C. And now you should just see C, nothing will actually change. And I'm going to drop a null, color it red, but you can color it any way you like. And this is going to be my out height. So this is my final output for the displacement. Let me drop a network box around this, call this displacement, so we kind of know what's going on. And now here we can start working on the actual colors. So to set up the base color, there are a couple of ways that we can do that. If you maybe whenever you set up colors on a SOP level, maybe from a ramp, you're using a WOP node to ramp the whatever attribute you want and add colors. Here we can use a WOP to cop filter, which basically give us the same abilities. So let's connect that to the imported SOP node. Actually, I'm going to connect that directly to the height because I don't need all the panes. I can just all the planes. I just need the height one. So let me connect that. And let's dive in. Here you have your standard WOP process, but what we want to do, since we are connected to the height, we need to bind the height first. So I'm importing height. That's the plane that I want to import. Then I'm gonna drop a ramp parameter. I'm gonna make sure that ramp is a color ramp. That's fine. Height that's my input. Everything here is set nicely. Then in order for us to actually have an output, we need an RGB output. So I'm going to drop a vector to float node, which I'm going to connect the ramp, and it's going to connect these values to the RGB of the output node. We should be set. Okay, if we go up now, you see nothing changes because the ramp is still black to white. And if we reverse, you'll see things reversing. Let me just mask that, and you can see. And this is our normal workflow whenever we want to add color ramps to this. Now, in order for us to set up some base color, what you can do is that you can actually come here. If you have the labs node, you can sample some screen colors, which is a very nice workflow. Let me show you a little bit how that works. In that case, what you actually need is that you need some photograph. Let's say it's a desert. I'll bring my view here so we can see what's going on. And let me just put the screen here. So one of the options to set the color is that you can do it, of course, manually. If you have side effects labs installed, you can just right click and click sample colors, and then just like maybe drag it over here. You should get your own colors, and then you can always like go back and maybe sample some different palette stuff until you're happy with the result. But for now, since I've been preparing for this tutorial, I would like to manually insert all the colors that I need. So the colors that I know that work well for this specific height field is that we will need 6 points: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just bear with me. So point number 1 should be 0.168. 0.071 for the second, and 0.026 for the third. So you're seeing like some dark brown. Second should be at position 0.021, and its color should be 0.754, 0.323. And 0.135. 135. Okay, as a lighter color. Then our next point number 3, should be at position 0.362. Its colors should be 0.259, 0.1001, and 0.538. So we're kind of slowly adding like color variation. Oh, sorry, 0.0538. Okay, moving on, we have our point number 4, which would at position 0.733. Its color should be 0.288, 0.1507, and 0.0495. Just copy these numbers if you're like really into it, or just open the actual files that you have. Maybe that would be even easier, or like the best way would be actually to pick your own colors and have your own variation of this, which is completely fine. 2 more points. Point number 5 should be at position 0.877. Its colors should be 0.495 and 0.126, and last 0.0183. Last, the one that we need is the point number 6. Its position should be at 1, and colors are 0.022, 0.0201, 0.0183. So you can see we have this variation of between like light and dark browns, which I think works well for this specific height field. Okay, so moving on. Now what we need to do next is like start working and adding a little bit more details. So this is just our base color that we are working with. Now we want to add color variation and all the details on top. I'm going to drop a delete node just because I want to focus, because right now I have this like height and C. I am just going to delete the height because I don't want to drag the data along with me. There's no need, and I can just like work with C. Now we can start building the actual details. We're going to like focus on using one node with different colors and different masks. That node is called like the composite node. It's like, and if you ever like work with Photoshop and added layers, this is a very similar approach. So you basically plug in your foreground, your background layer, and your mask, and then you can choose what the operation it is. So the first thing that I'm going to connect is this one, and for the foreground, I'm going to drop a color node. Just because I want to put in a color on top of this, but I need some things to prepare first for this color node, so we like have this completely covered. So this color node, first of all, we should like override the size. Because we're working with 4K, I'm gonna put 4K for the size override, so it kind of covers the entire image, as you can see here. And then for the color, this one I used in the RGB, as you can like enter over here. So 0.19, 0.1532, and 0.1164. And you'll see it's like a bit darker color. But how we're going to mix it is by using a specific mask. So all the masks are here in our initial SOP import, so we can start extracting one mask at a time. So we just drop a delete node, connect it to the initial SOP import, and then for this specific case, we are going to use a clips. So if you come here and say delete everything but the clips, you should be able now to see only the clips node. And now this is my clips that I brought in from the SOP level, and I can connect it to the composite mask, and we should be able to see like these colors being added on top using this mask. Okay. Cool. So next mask that I'm going to need, I'm just going to copy this node. Next mask that they're going to need is going to be the flow one. And again, I'm just going to drop a composite node. So another composite. You will see me like using a lot of these composite nodes while building up this texture. But right now I want to import insert like a bit different color. Let me show you what that color is. Just copy paste this one because I want to make sure that again size is always put to override at 4K, and I just want to adjust the color. So this time I want a bit brighter color, so 0.569, 0.3613, and 0.1536 for the third component. Okay, this is our kind of brighter color that we are working with right now. And all what is left to do is to kind of connect the mask itself. Okay, this is the result. As you can see, we are using the flow mask to add this color on top, but I would like to kind of tweak this mask a little bit. I just don't want to use it as is. So what I need to do is just kind of add any node that I would like after this. So I'm going to drop a contrast node because I want to like increase the contrast of this mask a little bit. And in that node, I'm just going to increase like the black range here for the global contrast to 0.048. Actually, it's going to be minus 0.08 because I want to increase the contrast, like a crunch the blacks. So what we did is like we went from this to this, just kind of a little bit crunch the black values, so we don't have all that flow interfering with the bottom parts. So okay, that's our second composite. Let's add a little bit here. Let's just say these are our imported masks. Okay, moving on to our next composite. Let's just continuing to build all the details that we need. So this is our third composite. I'm going to need another color. And I'm going to add a little bit more darker color as well. So this one is 0.23, 0.14605, and the last component is 0.0621. So you can see a bit darker color now, but even a bit more saturated than the first dark one that we used. And for this one, we're going to create another mask, but this one is going to be not actually one of the ones that we imported, but we're going to generate it from the height. I'd like to add some details on the edges. So I'm going to drop a edge detect node. I'm going to connect my isolated height to that. Okay, let's see how that works. But for this, I don't want to use the Sobel algorithm. What I actually want to do is I want to use a Mark Hildreth algorithm because I want these very strong edges. Size can remain at 5, but I want to maybe like increase the feature size to 0.025, and node threshold can also remain in 0.005. Okay, but this is just like very, very strong. Let's just blur it a little bit, so I can drop a blur node just so we can get some nicer transition. And for that blur node, set it to Gaussian and just increase the scale a lot, maybe something like 72.5. Kind of works. I think it works okay because I want this at this level, these more like blobs of color than any specific small details. Okay, so this can be our third mask. I'm gonna plug this mask into my composite node. If I come back here, so you can see so what's going on. So we like if you look at this area here, so we went from this to actually this, and then we add a little bit more color variation here in the valleys. Okay, yes, so but let me adjust this composite as well because maybe this is too strong. What maybe we can just reduce a foreground weight to like something to 0.412, something like that. So we just get a little bit of color variation. And now we can maybe go back and tweak some other masks. Let's set this contrast. I also like to adjust the scale of this contrast. So put the scale to 2.48 and the contrast center, and then we need to reduce it to 0.0558. This should, yeah, this kind of, I think this works a little bit better. It's a bit more punchy. Now let me just go back and tweak a little bit this color because I'm not too much fond of this very bright orange looking piece. So I'm just going to tweak that one as well. Let's kind of desaturate it. So let's put this color to 0.128, 0.0617, and 0.0126. Yeah, this looks a little bit better. I want this part to be darker, not that saturated as it looked right there. Okay, so let's move on. We went to this composite. We kind of reduce the foreground weight. That looks okay. That mask was made by like creating it like from the height and using edge detection, a little bit blur on top. All of that is actually good. So we can move on. We'll continue in the same fashion. Just remove these colors. We'll drop a next composite node. I think that you're getting the flow of how this goes. So for this composite, I would like to kind of brighten up some of the areas. So for this composite node, what I want to do is actually create again another color node. Maybe you can like multiply use these color nodes, but this time I kind of build it all this one by one. For this color, I used 0.59, 0.236, 0.0714. So you can see a bit like saturated color and a bit like brighter. And then what I want to do is create like a new mask for this. This time I was actually wanted to do a bit more like a directional mask. So in order for us to create a bit like directional mask, we can utilize the normal map and then maybe extract a channel from that normal map and then use it to mask things. Let me show you what I actually mean by that. Okay, so We start from our height, which we got here, but we're gonna drop another cop filter. We're gonna plug in our height to that, and we're gonna like work on our like directional mask over here. Okay, so this swap to cop like pretty much same as before. I'm going to drop a bind node. I'm going to import a height because that's the plane we are working with. After that, I'm going to drop a ramp parameter here, and then I'm going to use a vector to float just to kind of remap all of that to this to the colors, to the RG and B of the output. And now like we can tweak this if we want. Let me just come here, but I'm in the C, so I should probably just look at the C channel. If you want, you can now tweak this, but this is just our height. And now what I need to do is actually like generate a normal map out of it. So I'm going to add a labs normal from grayscale, plug that in. You probably won't see anything at first, but I increase this strength like significantly. Just put it at like 100 jogs, yes. And now you have this like normal map which is generated from the height. And now what we can do is actually extract a single channel from this normal map and use that as a directional mask. I'm going right now. I have like both all of these like planes that I got from the normal. I just want to delete them. Because I don't need all the extra data, so I'm gonna keep just the C because that's the color one that I need. Then I'm going to drop a mono node. What this node will do is actually it will convert it to like operation like luminance, but I'm going to choose only a green channel. So this is, and I'm going to disable keep vector planes as vectors. So what I'm doing this is I'm extracting a green channel from this normal map. As you can see, it feels like all the light is coming from the top. For example, if you maybe chose the red channel, you see the light coming from the side, and it's the same for blues. It's like some kind of like writing from it's almost like ambient occlusion, but we need the green one for that because I want this direction of the mask. After this, let's just adjust the mask. I'm gonna drop a levels node, like similar to like Photoshop when you're adjusting levels, and I'm just gonna increase this input levels over here. Let me just see, because the one I like not that big of a mask, so 0.55. Seems like a good option. Okay, so let's maybe create another box around here. So this is our directional mask. Okay, and then let's plug into this composite node. And what you will see now, once it's finished is calculating, and it should be pretty soon, is that we have all this color coming like from the top, and it kind of like defines these peaks a little bit nicer. But I don't want to use same as above. I want to like use it in a different blending mode. So I'm going to select the composite node and set the operation to screen, just because I want to get a little bit different look on this. Okay, so this I think looks like an okay step for that, and that maybe now we can move on. Again, dropping a composite node, another one. Yes, so many composite nodes, but it's worth it. Not in the end, the result is really nice. What I want to do for this composite node is actually I'm gonna probably create just a very simple mask for this one. I'm gonna use one of the imported masks. So let me just copy this one over here. And for this one, I'm going to use a debris plane. Okay, as you can see, this is the mask that I'm gonna use. Wait for it to generate. It's a very nice mask that we got from all the erosions. Connect that one to this. And now let's create a color for that as well. connect it over here. So for this debris, I just want maybe a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit brighter color to brighten up some areas, add a little bit more variation as well. So the color for this is 0.856, 0.5632, and the last component is 0.2145. So it's a bit like darker, less saturated, maybe like a beige color. As you can see, we went from this to this, like adding a little bit more brighter color variation on top. So the next thing that we are going to do is that okay, and I'm thinking that maybe I would like this light to come not from the top but from the bottom, and that's easily to fix. We can come here to our normal mask, and let's just drop a invert node before our levels. And what you'll see happening is that now you won't get this brighter slope coming from the top, but it will come from the bottom. Yes, I think this feels a little bit nicer now. Cool. These are our edge masks. Let's create network box for that. Call them edge masks. Okay. Moving on. Now let's see what more variation we can do. Let's add a little bit kind of like very subtle color variation on top of this. So how can we do that? It's again a composite node. We drop that one, put it here, and then I'm actually going to use a noise generator and plug it into here. But for this noise, I need to kind of set it up first. So this noise, I would like this noise to be, first of all, same as when dropping image nodes. I want to override its size to 4K because I want it to be mixed over the entire texture. So we override the size, and then in the noise, I want to actually use the sparse convolution. Let's see, maybe like a little bit different seed. Keep the noise per component. Turbulence, let's increase it. We want a little bit more turbulent node because we want more color variation, to put that to 6. Let's increase the roughness as well, all the way to 1. Exponent can stay at 1, but let's play with the frequency. So let's put the spatial frequency at 21.2 for the X component and at 31.2 for the Y component. So we get all these kind of high frequency color details that you actually see here. And now we're going to mix this a little bit, very subtly. Be careful when using this because like these colors are very, very punchy. So back to our composite node. How I want to set up this node is actually I want to set it up to subtract. And I'm going to be very gentle with this. So my foreground weight should be like 0.023. And as you can see what happens right now, we only get this kind of very subtle color variation that you might pick up when you zoom in the texture, but then I think it adds very nice subtle details when actually rendering. I usually like doing this pass. It's not necessary, like you do it if you want, if you like that kind of variation, but I suggest you do because it kind of blends things and adds a little bit even like a grain feel to it. And what this will also do is also like help us once we start rendering, because we can utilize this very subtle local contrast to kind of generate some normal map details in the render. Okay, but I don't want this to be present everywhere, so let me create even a mask for this one. So I'm actually going to create another edge mask, so let me copy paste this one, but this time I am going to use the Sobel filter. Okay, and I'm going to, but I want it in the valleys, not on the edges, so I'm going to invert this first. We'll create more room. So I'm inverting this first, okay. And then I just want to like adjust the levels a little bit because right now it's like all over the place. So let me drop another levels node, connect that one, and let's see what we can set up here. So let's just increase the output levels all the way, maybe to something like 0.973. Looks okay. That's fine, and maybe we can play with the gammas as well. Let's reduce the gamma so we can. That feels like a nice mask for our color variation. Let's plug that in. And now you should have like color variation in these areas, but not so much in these like very highly yellow ones. Okay, moving on, we have added like a little bit all over color variation, so we can now add maybe a little bit darker areas, maybe somewhere in the occluded parts of the height field. Again, let's drop a composite node. That's okay. Next, what I want to do is create another color. Now, the color I would like to have in these occluded areas, I want it to be like a bit darker and a bit saturated. So for this, let's set like 0.344, 0.01013 maybe, and actually minus 0.1747. Actually, I'm going to minus even the Y component so I get a bit more darker one. Yes, so it's a very kind of saturated, very kind of rich red, which I'm going to use here in this composite. But I'm going to multiply this one to set the operation to multiply because I want it in some specific areas. Okay, so let's create one more mask for this. I'm going to create a little bit of room here because this mask is also going to be one of the imported masks. So the one I'm going to use actually is the AO, the one I generated on the SOP level. This is the one. Let it import and generate. As you can see, very nice looking masks, but I would like to adjust it a little bit. So again, same process as before, we drop a levels node, connect that one, and then we can connect that back to the okay, so I just need to undo this automatic lineup of the nodes. So back adding levels, that's the one. So what we want to do on this level nodes is I'm just going to actually play with the gamma a little bit, just maybe reduce it. So let's set the gamma to 0.715. I think that should be like good enough. Okay, let's connect that to our last working composite node. As you can, let's see, it multiplies well a bit, maybe too much. So what can we do to fix this? Okay, things look a little bit wrong, reddish yellow. So just check out what's happening. Yes, I said the alpha operation to this, but it shouldn't be. It should be the regular operation set to multiply, and that should now look as it's supposed to look. Okay, just double check if I didn't create. Oh, I did that. The same thing here. So this should be. So this should be same as above, and this should be subtract. Okay, yes. Now this is way better. So you can see we came from this to this. We're just darkening this occluded parts, which I think looks nice. So the last thing I want to do color-wise is maybe like add a little bit more depth and details in like very specific edges and crevices. It's a regular trick that you use, when texturing. Like you add some highlights to the edges, maybe a bit more shadows to the crevices. So let's do that now. So add another composite node, drop it over here. For this one, since we're doing like those edge highlights, for this one, I'm actually going to use a white color connected to this. I'm gonna set that to screen because I wanna lighten everything. And now let's create a mask for this. So for this, I'm gonna like utilize the curvature because that's the mask that we need. So let's just drop over here so we can build this. So curvature is actually under mask because that was the last mask that we made on the SOP level. Let me just show you how that looks. So this is our curvature. You can see like we have the white wherever the edges are and the black wherever the crevices are. One more note, let me just go back a little bit to the SOP level. So here is our mask by feature, and here is where we mask by curvature. The one thing that maybe I failed to mention that I want to like use this ramp, this remap of the curvature ramp to get the appropriate things. So just like select curvature, compute the range, and then just use the curvature ramp in this setup to get what you need. And since like this is now under mask, we haven't renamed this. So in the cops, when we import the what's called the actual mask, is that we get a curvature. Okay, so let's tweak this curvature a little bit. We're probably going to use it 2 times. So first time, I'm going to drop a levels node, just because I want to isolate only when I isolate the edges. So I'm going to crunch the blacks, like 0.5 to 8 maybe, so 0.5 to 8. That looks okay, but I'm also going to increase the gamma to something like 0.4423. Yes, just to increase a little bit. That looks okay. So this is our first mask, like the edges mask. We can plug it here. Let's check how that looks. Okay, so but I'm gonna reduce the foreground weight like heavily, something point like 0.064. I just want like slightly lighter colored edges. Okay, this looks fine to me. And like last step for the color, before adding some nice details, is that let's add one more composite node to add a little bit darkness in the crevices. So this goes here. For this one, I'm going to use a black color, completely black one. That's okay. Drop it here. Not Z-comp, just a composite node. I dropped the wrong composite node. So here, connect this to the background, this for the foreground. Let's set this composite node to operation multiply. Okay. So this was the screen, this is a multiply. Right now everything is black because we're multiplying the black color all over. So let's create the mask as well. So I'm gonna use the curvature one as well, but I'm going to invert it first because I need the crevices part. And then I'm going to again drop a levels node and tweak that as well. Here, connect it there. Okay, so for this levels node, what I want to do is again like crunch the black levels to something maybe 0.509. Yeah, that looks fine. And again, we're just going to increase the gamma, let's say to 1.92. I think this looks okay. So these I'm going to drop in network box here as well. So this is my curvature masks. Okay. So this is my second mask. Let's drop it and connect it here. Okay, of course this is too strong, but here, if I now start like reducing the foreground weight, you'll see like we don't get the result that we need. So what we actually need to do is kind of affect the mask, and we can do that actually in the composite node itself. So if you go to the mask, we can reduce the effect amount, and this is actually kind of change how much of that influence you get. So something like 0.376 is I think good enough. And this is, as far as I'm concerned, a final look for the actual color. One more thing that I wanted to add, just a little bit of flair on top, is since these height fields are a bit more stylized, I want to add a little bit more like a cartography feel to it. So I would like to add some like height to those lines like you see on the old maps, maybe even some like longitude and latitude lines as well, just to give it a little bit more of a stylized flair. Okay, so we need to build those lines first. So let me show you how to do exactly that. I'm going to build them here off to the size. So first, let's build those height baseline. So see, we have the height. So what we need is a quantize node because I want to kind of like separate this isolated high layer into like discrete segments. So let's connect that one first. And what you see right now, like we get this kind of quantization effect. We can leave it at default values at pixel step 0.1, but if you want, you can like change that to get some other segmentation. I thought that 0.1 as default was looking nice. Now we need to convert this actually to those lines. So let's just drop an edge detect node. connected over here. And now if we see that, you see that automatically we get those lines in between. Okay, so Sobel as an effect looks completely fine. Let's start building that as well. Now for the next part, I want to build some like latitude and longitude lines. So in order to build this, there's a little bit of a trick. So we can use a grid labs grid texture at first. So because I need some, like checkerboard for that, but I'm going to drop the resolution. I need this big, so 256 by 256 is fine. I'm going to increase the tiling to 5. And this is what we get. I'm going to completely remove all the text, outline, border. I don't need anything of that. And I'm going to set the colors foreground to completely white and the background to completely black. Now, why do I need this? Because I'm again going to drop a edge detect node. As you can see, I just copy paste this one and get these lines, but I need like a little bit more of them. So I'm going to drop a scale node first, and then I'm going to like fraction this, and then image fraction is like should be like 16 times 16. And right now we have again like we have the 4K images you can see here. Now we just need a kind of channel copy because I want to mix this to that. So I want to composite these two nodes. This is going to be my foreground. This is going to be my background. Connect them like this. Again, I dropped the wrong node. Now it's a zcomp, a composite node. So this is my background. This is my foreground. Okay. And this I want to set to add. And you see like nothing like actually happens right now. So what needs to happen is that I'm mixing a little bit different, like channels. So in order to do this, I need to do a couple of things. First, I need to rename one thing. I need to rename a C to height. So I'm mixing the same channels, and now I am basically getting what I want. You have these errors here sometimes. I'm not sure why that happens. If somebody can like enlighten me, that would be nice. What I figure out solves that is just by kind of copying a single channel. So we use a channel copy, and I just drop it here, and I can like target a new plane, just the alpha plane, and then I can source only one channel of the C, and then I come here to rename and actually use that alpha channel, not the C channel, to this. And now in the composite, like everything even here looks like it should. Yeah, maybe it's a little like a bit of a workaround. I don't know what's actually happening, but this is what we need to get, and this is how like it looks like it should look. So that's okay. Cool. So let's switch here to height, just so we can see what's working. So we have our kind of height based lines. We have our latitude and longitude lines. What we can now maybe do is let's see, maybe we can tweak this light. So this upscale filter is now set to box, so these lines are a bit too thick. Maybe you can just set it to point. Yes, that's the thing. Now we get all these thin lines. I like those way better. But I would like these lines to not be like this kind of full. Like I want it to be actually dotted. And the best way that I found to actually kind of hack that is this. So I'm going to start with another grid texture. Drop it here. Again, I don't need that much of a resolution, so 256 is fine. But this time I'm going to crank up the multiplier to 10. So again, remove all the borders, text, outlines, set the colors to white and black. That's okay. And now I'm going to drop a tile node. So not a scale node, but a tile node. And I'm going to tile that 16 by 16. So not scaling the image, I'm actually tiling it to get the full 4K resolution. I'm repeating this very dense, grid. And now I'm going to again channel copy this into a specific single channel. So I'm going to set this as a new plane and into A alpha and select the this only one channel. And now I'm going to again drop a rename node so I can mix the planes with specific names, and I'm renaming them from A to height because I'm going to mix with the height that I already have here. So another composite node, drop it here. This is my background, this is my foreground, connect this, and now what I want to do here is set this to multiply. And now what's this actually going to do? It's, let me just, sometimes there's a bug, so we are adding this to get all the lines, and we are multiplying that very dense checkerboard, and we're kind of simulating the dotted lines. And this is actually everything that we need. So this is our final mask, basically, and this is our cartography mask. Let's call it like that for now. That's fine. So let's go back to the actual last color node. Let's add another composite that's here, plug that in. I'm actually going to use that same black color. And now when I connect the mask that we created to the last composite node, we should, as you can see, we are getting all these nice black lines on top of this. And I will finalize our color texture here. So let's just drop another null. Color it red because I don't know why not. And this is our out color. Okay, just kind of just add the final network box around here. This is our color. Okay, cool. So while working on all this, you might want to see it a little bit more in context. So if you go back to our height field, we can actually utilize this height field quick shade node to actually preview that texture. I mean, yes, we can change the diffuse here and preview it like that, but we can also use the OP workflow to get the texture to present here. So here in the texture, you just need to enable the texture at first on the layer, and then just use this syntax. So apostrophe, so asterisk, OP, and then the path to the actual null. So it's obj dusty hf for height field, the cop to net 2, and then if I recall, it's out underscore color. And let's see if this cooks and if this works. This should cook and work, but I need to add this and not a apostrophe. So okay, now just give it time for it to cook. Sometimes you might get these looking arrows, so just pick any of the terrain masks to disable that error. And now what you see is the actual texture that we created in cops applied to the height field. Okay, and if you go back to cops and whatever you change there, once you return to this context, you should be able to see the changes live in your viewport. So one more final thing. So in this cop network, so what you can do is you can actually plug using the same OP method all these kind of nulls into the actual shaders when setting up for them to render. But also what might be the faster option if you want to avoid computing all these graphs is just kind of dropping a raw file output and at the end connect it. Set the path, set the name, set this to be a current frame. You can leave others, plane scopes, everything as default, and just come here and then say this is dusty C as color, click render, and it will export the texture that you can use directly in the shader. And you can use that the same workflow for the height as well, and for any other mask that you might have. So this is the end and the final looking cops made texture for our height field. See you in the next video.